And then I got,
I heard that.
okay.
Oh, make sure that's not in the way.
Is it Trina? Is it Trina?
No.
Trina, you gotta put the phone down and help me, Trina.
No, it's not in
Okay.
the way.
Okay. Interview number 3, Dorothy Vagano.
Camera rolling.
This afternoon, I'm here with Dorothy. Dorothy, state your full name and a little bit about you.
My name is Dorothy Hennessy Vagano, and I was in the military for 11 years, and I live here in Annandale, Virginia.
Great. So tell me a little bit about your life growing up, Dorothy.
Tell me a little bit about your life growing up, Dorothy.
Cut.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. My childhood as a little girl growing up was,
My childhood as a little girl growing up was interesting, mostly because I loved being outdoors, climbing trees. I wasn't a really girly girl. Didn't play with Barbie dolls or anything like that. I enjoyed the being outside, doing sports, and being a tomgirl.
my favorite sport was, and why?
My favorite sport was probably gymnastics. I liked it. It was use all of your strength from your entire body, not just your running, using your legs or things like that. It's an amazing, hard, difficult sport as well. So it was quite rewarding when you did well.
So me as a my sports activity was very time consuming because
My sports activity was very time consuming because because I was on so many sports. Sometimes I was on 2 varsity sports at one time in one season. Plus I would also work.
I grew up in a family of how many children?
I grew up in a family of 2 siblings. My sister, who's older, and my brother, who's younger, and I consider myself the well-adjusted middle child.
My mom and dad, my mom, okay, I'm going to cut this out. How can I say? You want to say, what did your mother do? What did your mom, was she in the military? Was your mom a military service person?
My mom never served in the military, but she did work for the government, for the Defense Department.
My dad served in the Marine Corps for a number of years, and
My dad served in the Marine Corps for a number of years, and my parents ended up getting divorced, unfortunately, so I lived with my mom, and my sister lived with my father during high school.
I grew up and later on I wanted to join the Marine Corps, but my dad talked me out of it, and because
Later on, my dad, I had wanted to join the Marine Corps initially, and my dad talked me out of it because he just didn't feel like I would have fun. He thinks I would be frustrated, that women didn't have the opportunity at that time that I would have in another service, and he felt that I should go into the Air Force, and I said absolutely not. So we both decided that the Army would be the best choice for me, and it truly was.
I eventually joined the United States Army, and my first duty station was
When I first joined the United States Army, my first duty station was at Fort Huachuca, where I went to officer basic course. And then from there, went to Fort Bragg for my first assignment.
I earned my specialty as jump master by, you would tell me.
I'm not sure I understand that.
Okay, let me walk back. So you were a jumper first.
Yeah.
Okay. I attended Fort Bragg, and eventually I, what do you call it? This is going to be cut out. What do you call it? Is it additional duty? Is it a specialty? The jumping. Additional duty?
Right.
Okay. While being stationed at Fort Bragg, I acquired an additional duty as jump master.
Being stationed, well, let me start that over. Okay, while being stationed at Fort Bragg, I took on additional duty, which is called master parachutist or jump master. And at the time, there were 3 of us ladies that were all 3 jump masters. You don't get paid extra for it. You have to keep people safe, so you're responsible for their lives, their equipment, their lives, getting in and out of the aircraft safely. And but I do know that there was the first female jump master. I think she became the first general in the Army, and I'm not recalling her name right now, but.
So what made you want to become a jump master?
Well, the reason's not a real good one. I think I was watching a video of some actual footage, and I saw the aircraft bank, and it ultimately crashed, and I saw jumpers coming out of the door. And in combat, jump masters jump out first, and I went, I want to be near the door. So being a regular jumper, so I decided that it's a lot of responsibility, and it was hard work to become a jump master, and that you're responsible for people's lives is huge. And I think that's really what motivated me to become a jump master. And it's a hard school.
Tell me about the training environment. Training with predominantly men. Tell me about a day in the life of the training of a jump master.
Well, jump master school is usually for it's a more elite type of school to begin with. Not everybody gets to go. Not everybody can get into it. Not everybody passes it. It's very difficult. So it really didn't matter to me that I was a female, and I didn't feel like the jump master instructors treated me any differently than my fellow soldiers. It's a hard school, really hard. So you're either going to make it or you're not. They set a criteria for inspecting equipment. You must have every motion correct. You must find everything that they rig improperly into the parachute or the reserve. So if you miss something, you're out. It has nothing to do with your, what your sex is. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how high ranking you are. You have to pass the course because you're responsible for people's lives, and that's what the instructors are there to make sure that you don't accidentally kill somebody because you missed something.
Give me an example of some of the type of, I guess, some of the standards, some of the tests, some of the requirements physically that you had to pass in order to get that perfect score in order to pass this course. Just tell me, was it a certain amount of push-ups or running at a certain amount of time, or?
No, becoming a jump master it's physically grueling because you have to be on your toes, and you're inspecting a lot of jumpers. You might have 20, 30 people that you're actually inspecting their equipment while it's on them, and it's got to be perfect. And in Jumpmaster School, the requirements are they give you 3 jumpers, and they rig in deficiencies into both the main parachute or the reserve, or it could just be something on the helmet. You have to find it. And some of those things are so small to see, so you really have to focus your time during that inspection of these 3 jumpers, and you must find every single deficiency. I think you might be able to miss one minor, what they call a minor deficiency. And you get 3 tries to get through this. And I've actually seen grown men and women walk away from the school crying because they failed it. It's, again, hard to get into it, and you have to be perfect at it. And it's a very difficult school.
What is the prerequisite in order, I know that you accomplished or you achieved the specialty of jump master, but what was the prerequisite before you became a jump master?
Right. Before you can become a jump master, you have to pass jump master. It's a pre-course that was put out by the Advanced Airborne School. And before that, you had to have a certain amount of jumps. So I believe, I think it's 32, you have to have 32 jumps, and some other smaller prerequisites. And then you have to take that pre-test. If you can't pass the pre-test, you don't even make it into the door. So that right there, it would definitely separate the amount of people that make it in. Once I became a jump master, I created a program for my unit and some other units in the 82nd that would attend my jump master pre-course. And I had a 99% pass that test the first try.
Great. You're doing great. I had this cut off.
Do you want me to turn this up? I can't.
I didn't hear anything. Does it turn off by itself?
It clicked off. I'm just